Welcome to Candlewick Library. I'm Cheryl, and I'm doing a little bit of a homeschool update. In a few weeks, I will be making a video about what curriculum we're going to be using for our next school year. But in April, I actually made a video about our new homeschool schedule, and that has actually changed. I think I hinted to this recently, but one day I was talking to my youngest daughter, and I kind of got the idea that maybe she wasn't so thrilled about that schedule change, where we were going to change it to finishing out the school year in November and then starting our next school year in January and then staying with that schedule for the rest of her schooling. She said, yeah, actually, I would prefer to stay on the way we've been doing it. And so I had to completely rethink things all of a sudden. I knew that with the way that we had missed some weeks last school year, and then when I was planning the rest of our school year this last year, I took some extra time because I thought, oh, we're going to have more time. But I still knew that both of my daughters were going to probably be finishing most of their individual work in September or October. Then we would just move on to the next thing, even though it wasn't the next school year yet. We would be graduating my oldest daughter in November, even though she actually is already done with all of her requirements. Utah doesn't have any requirements for graduation from homeschool, but I have gone off of our local high school and some of the colleges nearby to decide what I wanted my daughters to have for their credits when they graduated. And she's already surpassed that, but I knew that she had a few things that she wanted to finish above that. So then I went to her and I told her, your sister doesn't really want to change the schedule. Do you want to just be done? And she doesn't. She wants to stay with finishing in November. And so I thought, okay, you know what? They can both be different. We can start the next school year for 9th grade for my youngest daughter and then still have my oldest daughter just finishing up a few things and hanging out with us for read alouds and have her graduate in November. They don't have to be on the same schedule, especially with one finishing and then one starting high school. So we ended up taking off all of August for our summer break, and I am preparing for the next 4 years of high school for my youngest daughter. She'll be starting 9th grade in September. And I have a lot of really fun ideas and a lot of things that we'll be doing. But basically the first couple of months, she will be finishing up some of her things from this last school year and then immediately going into the things that are for 9th grade. Her older sister will be sitting in with us on archaeology and geography and history and our read aloud still. And she'll be finishing up the anatomy course that she was doing. And I'll talk about all of that in the next video, but she'll be finishing that up, and she's doing an ACT course right now. So that is how our schedule has actually changed. I thought if anybody remembered that video, they might be kind of confused when I post a video showing our next school year at the typical time. So that is the update of what we are actually doing in our homeschool. But also during this last couple of months, we have moved all of our homeschool stuff out of this room that I'm in right now. This has become my library now. We are almost done with finishing our basement, and my husband was able to move his office stuff down into the office room down there while he's finishing the last touches. And so that opened up our dining room area to be our homeschool area. I'm going to show some video of the process of changing that over from dining room to our homeschool room, what it looks like now out there. You'll see the theme that we have made out there, and that will continue through the next school year, even when it's just my youngest daughter. This was partway through the process while the bookshelves were still there, but I was starting to get it ready. This is the new school area. It's a little nook right off our kitchen next to our family room that is technically supposed to be a dining room, but we were using it as my husband's office area. And so now, instead of making it into a dining room, we decided to make it into the school area. My daughter said that they would rather have the school area out here rather than the room that we've been in. And so that was awesome. That left that open to be my library. We designed this room at the beginning of the summer to fit the medieval theme that we were in history. And this will be going into this next school year and probably for the next year or two. Even though we are going to be past the medieval time period, as we're doing some other things that it will kind of match and it will be fun with. We added this new unicorn print that kind of reminded me of the one that's in Harry Potter and a tapestry that I saw at the Tower of London in England. And then I made this sign beyond this place. There be dragons, and hung up some little dragons. We've got some little signs around the room that are kind of medieval in nature. And then this board has some quotes. This one is falling off, but it has some quotes from G.K. Chesterton and C.S. Lewis and Heidi St. John about dragon slayers and fantasy and why it's good to read fantasy to children and fill their minds with the imagination. These torches are just kind of vinyl stickers. I made this sign a couple of years ago when we changed our school name to Vauxhall Academy. Here we have my oldest daughter's desk my desk with a lot of my supplies, and then my youngest daughter's desk is over here. Then we've got another board to use whenever we need it. That one's magnetic. We have our big whiteboard, but it is not magnetic. So I like to have at least one smaller one that is. This has our scripture for the year on it already, although I did write it kind of crooked without meaning to, so I might have to go back and fix that. My youngest has already added some drawings to this. We have the armor of God, cutouts, and our bulletin board with some of our things from the end of last school year. And then it just kind of goes into our kitchen. So over here we have a lot of the school supplies. I have actually not organized any of this yet for our next school year, so that will be happening pretty soon. And of course, the biggest thing is that this wall just used to be white, and I did put up some wallpaper to try to make it resemble a castle wall. I use that same wallpaper on the bulletin boards just to kind of make them match. I'll probably post some pictures on Instagram or share on here when I add some of the things that are specific to the next school year. But as of right now, this is what our new schoolroom looks like.